Yeah, hey, howdy. I know I said the last video was going to be a quick one, but this will truly and honestly be a quick one. I just wanted to show you a couple things that are going off, and maybe even just this one specific thing, but I doubt that'll be true. You got a nice viburnum here. You got a Viburnum acerfolium, so called because it's got those maple-shaped leaves, bearing, of course, no uh, relation to maples in the genus Acer and the family Sapindaceae. This is in the family Adoxaceae, however you say it, in the same family with the elderberries and all the other, dozen or so species of viburnum we get up here in the Northeast. All uh, having that nice, opposite leaves terminating in these beautiful inflorescences. It doesn't smell as strongly as lanthanoides, so there's a couple ants on there that we saw, up in the White Mountains, but nevertheless, beautiful umbels of flowers there. I'm just going to try and zoom in on them. Oh, yeah, what you got there? Looks like 5 petals, five stamens, 5 petals, 5 stamens. Flip the inflorescence over the underside. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. That's what you call a nice flowering shrub. And people do plant these out, but I've got hopefully somebody sending me some seeds of a Viburnum lentago, the nanny berry that I'll be able to plant. But yeah, viburnums, all of them are nice, and they're not that hard to find. Kind of probably got one growing in your neck of the woods, and this guy's doing good here. Got another one right there, bigger one. There was a couple of scrubbier ones behind me, and they do just fine in this understory sort of habit. And then of course, what is actually a distant relative of maples, you got some toxicodendron radicans here, some poison ivy in flower, of which I have no interest in going up to see. Little panicle of flowers there. But yeah, this is toxicodendron. This is in, I think it's even in the same family as maple, Sapindaceae, same family as mangoes, cashews, poison oak, etc. And an absolute bastard of a plant. And there's some behind me there too. All right, we're gonna look at a couple more things, and then I'm going back inside. There's just a handful of things I wanted to look at. Okay, so you may have heard that, Castanea dentata, the American chestnut, if you're familiar at all with American trees, especially those of the East, you know about chestnut blight, and you know about this tree right here. So this is Castanea dentata, in the same family as oaks and beeches, and you can see that it's got where it gets that epithet dentata. It's got the strongly dentate margins on the leaves. Probably about the same length and texture as a beech tree, but beech trees don't have dentation nearly that coarse. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, aren't these trees, supposed to be like naturally, or extinct in the wild? And well, yes and no. These used to be what you could call a climax species, growing up there with the pines and the oaks, we get some, younger sapling oaks here. There's a bigger one, but the white pines are, generally speaking, I mean, they're the largest tree that grows in the Northeast, and in fact, in the East in general. Well upwards of 150 feet, I believe, in some cases, and living quite a while too. Not as long as some other species that you can get, but I digress. This was at one point a climax tree dominating the scape, the woodscape, landscape, however you want to say it. But I mean, just take a look and you tell me what you think's going on here. So we have this dead branch going up there. We have foliage down at the bottom, right? This is the living part of the tree right here. Just this thin sapling, it's about the width of my pinky, down at the base there. And then you have, dead at the top, resprouting from this node here, resprouting from the base. And if you guess that these guys will grow for a certain period of time, and they'll just get knocked back by that disease, by that blight, before they have a chance to, you know, grow and produce fruit and really thrive, you would be correct, my friend. Look, here's another individual back here. We got the exact same thing going on. Dead shoot where it started and died back, resprouted from the base. And then this guy looks a little bit healthier. He's kind of hard to tell, but he's in there. He's got this oak coming up next to him, showing a much more healthy, you know, sort of root system. I mean, you can see this guy has just resprouted a bunch. But these poor chestnut trees, even when they, you know, regrow, look at the same thing right here. This one's a lot bigger. See how tall that goes up there? And just dead. And then resprouting from the base. And they'll do this countless times, but unfortunately, they just fail to grow back to become this, you know, massive, dominating tree up in the canopy like they once were. But so is Castanea dentata, is the American chestnut extinct in the wild? You tell me. Critically endangered, certainly, and certainly imperiled by, you know, this chestnut blight that just seems to take hold after, you know, they might grow just fine for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, but rest assured, before that tree or as that tree reaches any semblance of maturity, these poor things just take a beating back. And I mean, I wanted to talk about them. Frankly, I've seen them pretty often, but it's always, you know, in the last couple months as they've started to sprout, but it's always this story. It's the same story every single time. They grow for a certain period of time, die, resprout, and they'll just keep doing that until ultimately the root system washes out or something else just wipes out the entire thing. But, you know, fortunately, and I know people hate GMOs, there's good work going into these to, you know, make them resistant to the blight. You get, you know, European chestnuts or Asian chestnuts. I don't honestly remember where they come from, which ironically carried the blight over. Those trees can weather it and survive it. But Castanea dentata, the American chestnut, does not have that same resistance. And even in cases where they survive, like this individual, like these individuals over here, I mean, the evidence is plain to see. It's right in front of you. We've got 1, 2, 3, all in the same area, demonstrating that exact same dieback. And I mean, it's a tragedy, but for what it's worth, these poor trees are still hanging on where they can. And I mean, I only hope that the work of splicing the DNA into them and doing whatever they have to do produces a, you know, a more healthier variety of tree. It's the same thing kind of happened with American elms, Ulmus americana, but you know, they didn't get knocked back as hard as the American chestnuts did, not by the blight. You can readily find, you know, rare, or not even rare, uncommon to find massive American elms, and the new ones they plant out do have a better resistance as far as I know. But yeah, this is a tragic case of what was once a massive dominant tree in the forests of the East, an important food tree to the wildlife and to indigenous people, and even to colonial Americans, just decimated by the result of, frankly, human ignorance and human interference. Yeah, interesting, if not a bit depressing, but we won't spend too much time. I've already talked enough about it. So we'll get some other stuff that's hopefully a little bit less depressing, like that beautiful maple leaf viburnum down there. Look at this guy. Whew, almost just slipped and fell on my ass. Yeah, how about that? That's a nice one. This guy's doing just fine. You can see kind of hanging out where he gets that early afternoon sun, probably. A nice sunny spot. And as you can see, I know that these leaves do look a lot like maple leaves. Here's a maple right here. I guess the maple does kind of have somewhat opposite foliage. But, ooh, this guy's got some galls on him. But they different, you know, let's see. We'll do a little compare and contrast here. So do these have, you know, you'll just have to go off of the inflorescences. The similarities in the foliage are striking. But that's why they call it acerfolium. All right, we already looked at this guy. We'll go look at something else now. Okay, so I got to apologize. A couple minutes ago, I misspoke about poison ivy. Poison ivy, which you can see down there, is in the same order as maple. It's in the order Sapindales. The family, however, is Anacardiaceae, not Sapindaceae. Sapindaceae is the family of maples and a few other things not coming to mind right now. Anacardiaceae is the family of poison ivy, poison oak, sumacs, cashews, mangoes, etc. And if I can navigate over said poison ivy, I think we've got a species of Kalmia blooming right over there. Most likely angustifolia. I finally got that whole nightmare straightened out. And I'd love to take a look at this beautiful plant here. It's okay, that guy's already dead. Well, risking getting poison ivy here. Okay, what are we looking at here? Let's pick where I tread very carefully. Okay, yeah. Definitely looking at a species of Kalmia. Come on. Angustifolia would definitely be it. You got the whorled leaves. You got the leaves coming up over the inflorescence, which is apparently one of the telling signs, okay, between angustifolia and latifolia. And then you, with latifolia, the inflorescences are coming out in the terminal ends of those branches. And then in the bog laurel, the inflorescences, I'm sorry, I misspoke again, on bog laurel, whose scientific name I can't remember at this particular moment. You get the inflorescences at the terminal ends, and the leaves are opposite. In angustifolia, which this is, you get whorled leaves, and then you get the emerging growth coming out above the inflorescence there, the cluster flowers. On latifolia, the flowers are white, and then procumbens, which is the fourth species of Kalmia, native to New England, you're not going to see it here. That is restricted to the extreme high elevations of the White Mountains, and it was extirpated from parts of Maine, high elevation parts of Maine, up near Katahdin, where it would have formerly been native. So this is angustifolia. This is I forget what the common name is for this one. I think they called this one mountain laurel, actually. And then you got the dwarf laurels, procumbens, bog laurel is the one I can't remember. And then latifolia is the sheep laurel, the white one.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'll correct myself below, but a wonderful member of Ericaceae hanging out here. And if we get lucky, the last thing we look at today might also be a member of Ericaceae. All right, I'm going to try not to get poison ivy and put my phone down. I missed him. He was too fast. I was walking down the path and a big ass deer ran across me, but I didn't have my camera out, so unfortunately he's long gone off into the woods. But also, unfortunately, we're a bit too early to look at what I wanted to show you. This is a guy we've looked at before, maybe even this exact clump of this species. This is Chimaphilla maculata. This is the striped wintergreen. And those are the flowers there in bud. Nice pendant white, vaguely ericaceous flowers, or ericoid. Not ericaceous, looking like an Ericaceae, because it is an Ericaceae. Same family as blueberries and those that Kalmia we were looking at back there, but not in flower quite yet. Should be flowering this month, maybe in a few more weeks. Time will tell. In any case, I'm kind of bummed out I didn't see that deer, but we'll cut it off here. Just because I didn't intend for this to be a really long format video. I really just wanted to look at that Viburnum and that chestnut tree. So in any case, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. There should be an influx of these videos coming out right about now. Yeah, you can see here's that Chimaphilla. There's last year's inflorescence, or in fructescence I should say. And then here's those flowers coming up for this year. Beautiful, warm, early, well, not early, late, not early summer, late spring day. But we best head back inside. I'm fairly certain I have contracted poison ivy. Running after the deer, you know. Sometimes you gotta run after the deer. You gotta get them. You gotta get the autograph. In any case, take it easy.